Picture two houses, same neighborhood, same price range. One house goes under contract in a week. The other sits for 3 months with barely a showing. It's the same market, same buyers out there, completely different outcome. And here's the thing, in some of the fastest moving suburbs around Milwaukee right now, the average home is selling in about 10 days, which means the gap between the house that sells fast and the house that sits isn't shrinking. It's getting more expensive to be on the wrong side of it. And that gap almost never comes down to luck. It comes down to a handful of decisions, and almost all of them get made before a house ever goes live. These are the 10 things that separate those two outcomes, the exact list that I walk every seller through before we list. Save this one because you're gonna want it when you're actually ready to sell. Let's get into it. Forget the phrase spring is always best. That's generic advice. And it's not always true for your situation. Right now across the western suburbs, average days on market has dropped from 14 to 10 year over year. And the active inventory is up about 7.5%. That means buyers have more options than they did a year ago. So if your home doesn't stand out fast, it gets lost in a bigger pool. The right time to list isn't a season. It's whenever you can show up looking your best because the competition just got a little tougher. This is the one that people get wrong the most, and it's usually the opposite of what feels intuitive. That Grafton house from last week's video. Okay, we listed at $339,900, priced a little below what the comps actually supported. 9 offers, first weekend, closed at over $380,000, $40,000 over asking. Pricing high to leave room to negotiate doesn't protect you. It kills your first 2 weeks, which is when 90% of your buyer traffic shows up. And once that window passes, now you're chasing the market instead of leading it. Price to create competition, not to leave room for it. Square footage isn't the flex that it used to be. Buyers today care more about move-in ready condition, updated kitchens and bathrooms, and a layout that actually works for how people live now. Home office, storage, things like that. And with the rates still sitting in the mid-6s, buyers are paying attention to utility costs and the efficiency more than they were a few years ago. So if your home needs a story to explain its layout, that's usually a red flag for buyers before they even walked in. That doesn't mean you need to remodel your kitchen to sell your house. What you do need to fix is anything that kills a deal at inspection. Roof, HVAC, mechanicals, electrical, plumbing, foundation issues. Those are the things that scare buyers and blow up financing. The cosmetic stuff, paint color, dated fixtures, buyers can picture themselves changing that, but structural and mechanical issues, they can't unsee that. Spend your money there first. When you're selling your home, you don't need a full staging budget, but you do need 3 things done really well. Declutter, depersonalize, and fix your lighting. Focus your effort on the entry, the kitchen, and the primary bedroom because those are the rooms that make or break a first impression. And those are the rooms buyers remember when they're comparing houses later that night. Most buyers decide whether they want to see your house based on the photos before they ever see it in person. Your online presentation is your first showing. The real one is just confirmation. Beyond that, be flexible with your showing windows early on. Treat that first weekend like it matters because it does. That's when the most buyers are watching and the most offers get made. Going back to the Grafton house we talked about last week, the one with 9 offers, the winning offer had the highest price and the strongest terms, biggest earnest money deposit by a wide margin, appraisal gap coverage, a clean timeline. Price alone would have told a different story than the full picture did. I've seen this from the buyer side too. It was a duplex a client of mine bought. We didn't win by beating the seller down on price. We won by building an offer the seller could actually trust. Same lesson, both directions. The strongest offer isn't always the highest number. It's the one with the least risk attached to it. Quick explanation for anyone who hasn't sold before. An appraisal gap is when the bank's appraiser values the home lower than what the buyer agreed to pay. When that happens, someone has to cover the difference in cash, or the deal is at risk of falling apart. Smart sellers weigh appraisal gap coverage as part of the offer, not just the price on the contract, because a great price with no protection can turn into a renegotiation 3 weeks later. The date on the contract isn't always the day you have to be moved out by. If you're buying your next home at the same time you're selling this one, you may need what's called post-occupancy, which allows you to stay in the house for a few extra days after closing while your next place gets ready. Now, lender delays happen too, and possession terms aren't always the same as closing terms, so don't assume they match. None of this is complicated once you know it's coming. It only becomes a problem when it catches you off guard 3 days before you move. Choosing an agent based on who charges the lowest commission instead of who has the strongest plan for pricing and negotiating. That savings up front can cost you a lot more than it saves you if it means a weaker pricing strategy, fewer showings, or a worse outcome when offers do come in. The agent's job isn't to be cheap. It's to get you the best outcome with the least amount of stress. All right, that's 10. So if you're even thinking about selling in the next 6 to 12 months, my advice is to start that conversation early. Not when you're ready to list, but when you're starting to think about it. My link's in the description if you want to grab 15 minutes and just talk through your specific situation, no pressure. And if this helped, hit subscribe. New video every week on exactly what's happening in this market. We just hit 100 subs last week. I know that's a small milestone, but hey, I'll take it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a tea time to make. Thank you for watching, and remember, whatever move you make next, make it a smart one. See you next week.